Sponsored by Black Magic Design, the world's highest quality products for the feature film, post and broadcast industries. blackmagicdesign.com. And by JMR Rentals, jmrny.com.
The Promised Land. This is Denmark's official entry for the Oscar for International Feature, and they have a pretty good history there. They won with another round about 3 years ago. They were nominated for The Hunt back in 2012, and both of those films starred Mads Mikkelsen, as does this one. So they're going with what works, basically. So this is set in the 17th century, and it's based on a novel. Basically, Mikkelsen is the bastard son of a landowner of noble title or whatever, who basically just denied his existence. In fact, the Danish name for the movie is just Bastard. In spite of that, he worked really hard and rose up to the rank of captain in the military in an attempt to basically earn the nobility that he couldn't get by birthright. He solicits the crown to say, hey, this untamed heathland in the Jutland region that no one's been able to cultivate, I can do it. And he wants to build a settlement in exchange for an actual noble rank. They're like, sure, go ahead, you're going to fail like everybody else. Turns out he actually knows what he's doing, and he's making progress, and that really ticks off this guy named Frederick de Schinkel, played absolutely brilliantly slimy by this guy named Simon Benneberg. He's the judge of the county, he's the nobleman, and he basically says, no, this land is mine, and it's always been mine. I don't care what the government says, I own everything, and you work for me. The back and forth they have of the class warfare, basically, as de Schinkel tries to assert and dominate through property and wealth rather than any kind of actual legal authority, makes for a really great dynamic. And then you have some really fun side stories about, love affairs. There's a bit where Mikkelsen's character is in love with the woman who's engaged to de Schinkel, but she hates him. So it's like, hey, here's another nobleman I can marry if he gets his title. This is a way out for me. You also have the more salt-of-the-earth Anne Barbara, who she was what they call a tenant worker, but it's basically a slave. She and her husband worked for de Schinkel and fled because he was a cruel master. End up working for Mikkelsen. The husband dies, so now she becomes an option because she's the one willing to actually put forth the work to have any kind of social mobility. And then the third way through this is you have these nomadic people that are called the Tatars or the Tartars. They call them Tatars in the film, but basically Turkic nomads who live in the woods, and they're not allowed to work. But basically Mikkelsen ends up adopting one of them. There's this whole overarching message of, to coin the cliche, the friends we made along the way, but it's really, you thought you had this straightforward path to your dreams, and not only did it not turn out that way, just reality dictating different circumstances. There is a lot of worthwhile things, blessings, adventures to have on the periphery of that if you allow yourself to deviate from the path. And Mikkelsen just gives an absolutely brilliant performance, that perfectly subdued, dignified, stoic, and yet still deeply emotional just through his face type of performance. He's one of the few actors in the world who can pull this off every time he tries it, and he does it again brilliantly here. I would not be surprised if Denmark hears its name called again, either with the shortlist or the nominations when it's all said and done. They really, again, they're just doing what works. Like, give me a film, give me Mads Mikkelsen, ? Profit.